morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I suppose we're kind of looking at a part 2 of a video, a topic, a conversation that we started the other day. You see, a couple of days ago, back on March the 14th, so week or two ago as I record this, we looked at Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and I asked the question as to whether we would likely be getting TCG tie-in sets for those games. Those games are, of course, the Gen 5 remakes, which are confirmed to be coming out at the end of the year in November. And that, of course, got me thinking, as I'm sure it did a bunch of you, as to the possibility of getting tie-in sets for them, i.e. getting some Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl sets. And we did a video about it, and it's proven very popular. A bunch of people have watched it, really good feedback. But there was a question that I kind of deliberately left hanging off. And the question that I deliberately left hanging off, because I did think it was something that really needed its own video to have a little bit of a chat about, what about Pokémon Legends Arceus? Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, those were not the only quote-unquote proper Pokemon games that were revealed in that Pokemon Presents the other day. We were also told all about Legends Arceus. And I don't want this to sound like I'm not excited about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I am. And I don't want it to sound like I'm not excited about sets based on them. I am. Let's not forget my favourite Pokemon is Mamoswine, and Mamoswine is a Gen 4 Pokemon. But I am way more excited about Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I am way more excited about the idea of getting a Pokemon Legends Arceus tie-in set. So, what are our chances? Is it happening? And what's it probably going to end up looking like? Well, just as a very quick recap, with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I told you that it was overwhelmingly likely that we would be getting a tie-in set. If we look at previous remakes, we had Fire Red and Leaf Green, which got its own expansion in the EX era. Just one set, but there were elements that ran through a couple of sets. Heart Gold Soul Silver was obviously the gold standard. We literally got a block of 4 sets. There was its own little mini block, 4 sets a year. We got an entire year of sets based around Heart Gold Soul Silver, which was very, very cool. And then when it came to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it was not quite so explicit. But we did get Primal Clash, which wasn't called anything to do with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but it brought in, as you can see from the booster pack there, Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon, and it was very much a tie-in set. So it's overwhelmingly likely that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will get a set based around it. It's quite likely this is going to be part of the Sword and Shield block, and we'll probably end up getting Vs and V Maxes, but that's okay. As it stands at the moment, I think that's quite likely. So where does that leave us with Pokemon Legends Arceus? And the first thing we've got to say right off the bat here, there is no previous set we can look at as a comparison. With Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, we're talking about the 4th lot of remakes. So I can look at how the Pokemon trading card game reacted to the first 3 lot of remakes, and I could use that to make what seemed like a pretty gosh darn sensible prediction. But when I'm looking at Pokemon Legends Arceus, it's completely new. And when I say completely new, I mean completely new. It is a Pokemon RPG. You run around in the wild, you battle, you catch Pokemon, but in terms of look and style and so much else, it is unlike the other main series games we've seen so far. One of the things that really makes me interested here is that we have been told, there was a tweet that went out that said, in a time before trainers. There were no trainers back then. So there weren't any gyms and gym leaders, there weren't any trainers, and incidentally, right, this has been driving me crazy since they announced this. We've basically been told that you can battle wild Pokemon, and we've been told that you catch Pokemon by sneaking around in grass and throwing Pokeballs, and we've been told there are no trainers. So if there aren't trainers to battle, and you catch by sneaking around in the wild, why are we battling wild Pokemon? I don't quite understand this, if I'm honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. It has been something which has been, shall we say, it's been on my mind, I think is a fair one to talk about. So, that's a little bit weird in that regard. But honestly, if we're talking about style here, I want these cards so badly. Look at this screenshot we've got of these painted Piplups from the trailer. Who does not want TCG cards in this kind of style? And if you say that you don't, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to have to call you a liar, because look how amazing this is. It's so good. I want these kind of cards. And honestly, when I look at that kind of artwork, the thing that comes to my mind is the Legend sets. The Legend sets had a much more painterly style to them. I mean, if we look at something like Ho-Oh, for instance, it looks kind of painted. Does that, and I know, look, I'm not saying it's the exact same art style here, but I am telling you that this is what I got vibes of when I saw the Arceus trailer. Now, I do need to mention this, of course, because we did have Legend cards back in Heart Gold Soul Silver. For what it's worth, the Heart Gold Soul Silver sets over here were actually called Legend sets in Japan. And obviously, we've got Legends Arceus. Now, I'm not saying that that is necessarily a huge flashing light telling us what Pokemon are doing, but it is a fun little coincidence that could make a Pokemon fan dream. Now, I should mention Ho-Oh was a little bit of an exception. We got Ho-Oh and Lugia in the first set. After that, we went to double cards, and these double cards were really cool, right? Because they ended up in decks that won Worlds and placed really highly at Worlds, but because you had to play both halves at the same time and they gave up 2 prizes, they were the only cards at the time that did, it meant that they were actually used as techs and support in decks rather than just being these super good decks in and of themselves, which I really think was a great way for it to work. So honestly, I could see Pokemon Legends Arceus sets, and I could see them harking back to the Heart Gold Soul Silver era. That would be something I would dearly love for them to do. They could also go, look, it's completely off the track, it's not a main series game like that. It's an RPG, but it's not like your standard RPG, and there aren't gyms and all of that, so you know what, we're not doing a TCG tie-in, but this is going to be a big release for Pokemon, way bigger than the spin-off games, and you've got to think they're going to want to take advantage. I mean, it's not a coincidence, right? The Sword and Shield games come out, and then we go into the Sword and Shield era of the Pokemon TCG. And the really good highlight cards in the first set are Zacian and Zamazenta, which just so happen to be the box legendaries. And there are cards featuring characters like Marnie and Hop, who just so happen to be big characters in the game. And this is what we essentially refer to as cross-promotion in business. Essentially, you are trying to link them together, so people that buy the cards go, hey, these are really cool, I should check out the game, which just so happens to have all of these Pokemon and characters from the card game at the moment in, and people who play the game like the games, and they go, hey, there's a card game that features these characters and Pokemon I've gotten to love in the game, so let's go ahead and check that out. It's very deliberate. And I suppose it really depends on how much Pokemon want to push Legends Arceus. Because if you really want to push this as a proper main game, you need to have a TCG tie-in set. You need to tie it all together. And there are clearly some cool places they could go. We've seen artwork of the trainers, who look very unlike the ones we've seen in games so far. We've got a very different kind of Pokeball that I would love to see in the game. Obviously, we've got Arceus himself, and you know that we want some Arceus love. Yes, I know we all don't like ADP, but if you take ADP off the table, Arceus hasn't had any real love in like a decade. If you put ADP on the table, you probably never want to see Arceus again, but that's a whole different question. We've even got weird first partner Pokemon. We got Cyndaquil, Rowlet, and Oshawott, who are all from different generations. We got Gen 2, Gen 5, and Gen 7 all rocking out, which again is different and weird and really kind of cool. And I know a bunch of you have probably noticed, but you've basically got the archer, the samurai, and the explosives, fireworky kind of Pokemon. So there's a reason they picked those 3 Pokemon. I don't think I said that in the previous video, so let me make it nice and clear now. Honestly, the thing that puts me off in terms of making this prediction is the timing. The timing doesn't really seem to work like we might want it to. Now, generally speaking, when we look at blocks, we generally have about a dozen sets. I mean, if we look at Cosmic Eclipse, which was the final set in the Sun and Moon block before we went on to Sword and Shield, that was the 12th expansion of the Sun and Moon set. Now, I know Heart Gold Soul Silver was actually a little 4-card block, but Heart Gold Soul Silver doesn't really count as wrecking things. Yeah, we had this little mini set chucked in, this little mini block. It was only 4 sets, 5 if you include Call of Legends. But the thing is, that came after Arceus, and Arceus was the 4th Platinum set, but really, Platinum was the end of the Diamond and Pearl block, and there were 6 sets in there, Stormfront being the 6th one and the final one. So when you add all that together, there were actually 10 sets. So 10 to 12 is about what we would expect. And I suppose at this stage, we do need to just explicitly say, if that wasn't clear a second ago, we did only have 10 Diamond and Pearl sets, and then we went into Heart Gold Soul Silver, so maybe they would cut it off early? Head into a Legends block like they did with Heart Gold Soul Silver? My apologies, Stormfront was a 7th, so there were 11 sets in the Diamond and Pearl era. Thought that sounded wrong as I was saying it. So there were 11 sets there rather than 12, but 11 or 12 seems to be about right. So if we have a look at what we've got at the moment, the latest release date that we think we've got is Sword and Shield 8 on November the 12th. Which means our February set would be Sword and Shield 9, and our May set would be Sword and Shield 10. Now, we've been told that Arceus is coming in early 2022. We don't know what that means, but early 2022, I would imagine it would be here before the end of the financial year, so I would imagine a release by the end of March, but that is pure guesswork on my part. If that's the case, we would have to cut the Sword and Shield block off early in order to get Legends in as its own block. Then again, maybe we just have a Legend set in the Sword and Shield block like we're expecting Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond to just slot in as sets in the Sword and Shield block. The problem is, Legends Arceus, it really does remind me of the Heart Gold Soul Silver block, and a lot of it is to do with the style of what we've seen so far. I don't think you can just take Pokémon Legends Arceus and stick it in the Sword and Shield block, because actually, it doesn't work. The art is too different and too weird. So I think it's got to be its own thing. And the conclusion is, I think it makes sense. I think they should. I am desperate for it because, man, I am loving the style of what we've seen of that game so far. But they would have to mix things up a little bit and cut the Sword and Shield block off early to do so. I, for one, sincerely hope that they do. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. I want to know your predictions. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you want to see. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.